the Centaur main engine is restarted at 22 minutes 50 seconds for the second of 3 engine burns. Approximately 6 minutes later, second cutoff of the Centaur main engine occurs. At 29 minutes 23 seconds, a payload attached to the Centaur's aft bulkhead separates. This 12U CubeSat provided by the Air Force is designed to test new capabilities of small satellites used by U.S. government agencies. Following separation, the mission enters a 5-hour coast phase. The main engine ignites for a third and final burn at 5 hours 36 minutes. Nearly 3 minutes later, Centaur completes its final engine cutoff following fuel depletion. 5 hours, 40 minutes, 36 seconds into flight, Centaur releases the Air Force's AEHF-5 satellite on its mission to provide communications for high-priority military ground, sea, and air assets.
ULA is using the Atlas V 551 configuration to launch AEHF-5. This is the 80th Atlas V launch and the 134th ULA mission. Produced in Decatur, Alabama, the Atlas V 551 is the largest and most powerful configuration in the Atlas V fleet. It is comprised of a common core booster powered by an RD-180 engine, 5 Aerojet Rocketdyne solid rocket boosters, and a Centaur second stage powered by an Aerojet Rocketdyne RL-10C1 engine. Events that took place in preparation for today's launch began when the satellite was encapsulated inside the payload fairing. The RUAG 5-meter diameter payload fairing protects the AEHF-5 payload during ascent. Next, the encapsulated payload was transported to the Vertical Integration Facility, or VIF, at Space Launch Complex 41, where it was mated to the Atlas V rocket. The launch countdown begins with moving the rocket from the VIF to the pad. At approximately 9 a.m. Tuesday, the quarter-mile trip began using 6 components to complete the 20-minute trip. Weighing in at about 2 million pounds, the Mobile Launch Platform, or MLP, supports the rocket and contains air conditioning, electrical, and commodities, while the undercarriages bear the weight of the MLP and rocket. 2 rail cars lead the move, with the payload van providing communication to the payload, while the ground van houses the ground support for the rocket. At the rear of the convoy, the portable environmental control system provides air conditioning to the payload and rocket. Finally, trackmobiles provide the power to move the 3.5 million pound convoy. A third trackmobile is added to the front of the convoy to move our largest Atlas V configurations, like today's 551 rocket. The Atlas V rocket stands 197 feet tall, or about 20 stories, and weighs about 1.3 million pounds fully fueled. The RD-180 main engine and 5 solid rocket boosters produce approximately 2.5 million pounds of thrust to lift the rocket off the pad and begin its journey to orbit.
RD-180 TVC command control, please convene the anomaly team, provide a recommendation. We'll call.
As I mentioned earlier, Atlas V is launching the 5th satellite in the Air Force's Advanced EHF constellation. Atlas V launch vehicles have delivered AEHF 1, 2, 3, and 4 to orbit beginning in 2010. Built by Lockheed Martin, the AEHF constellation is the next generation of global, high-security, survivable communications satellites used by all branches of the United States military. AEHF satellites are the follow-on to the Department of Defense's current 5-satellite Milstar communications constellation. Once fully operational, the advanced EHF constellation will consist of all 5 cross-linked satellites, providing 10 times the throughput of the Milstar system, with substantial increase in coverage to users.
FTS, LC, Note 1.
Good, LC's FTS.
Had you copy RC's communication, we are switching over to Cape 1 Bravo.
Copy that, and the command side has already switched over to 1 Bravo.
Correct.
We have a number of exciting events planned for this morning's webcast. We will begin by hearing from AEHF Satellite Production Lead Project Officer, Lieutenant Corey Williams, to dive into the capabilities AEHF will provide. Then, we'll hear about the next Atlas V launch, Orbital Flight Test, which will prepare ULA for returning to launching humans from U.S. soil. And recently, we asked our social media community to post their photos of the Atlas V 551, the same configuration launching AEHF 5, from the ULA Anywhere app. Later, we'll share some of our favorite submissions. If you want a sneak peek, check out the ULA Anywhere hashtag on Twitter, Instagram, or ULA's Facebook page. Additionally, stay tuned for an overview of the Atlas production line from ULA's Vice President of Production Operations and Supply Chain, Cindy Nafis, as well as some insight into today's flight path from AEHF 5 trajectory engineer, Tyler Strickland. Following today's broadcast, check out ULA's live launch updates blog at ulalaunch.com, where you will find official and timely information regarding the AEHF 5 mission.
All communications switch to channel 1. Personnel and visitors remain in present position until launch. Maintain
Artwork
operational
on the
silence
payload
until
fairing of the
TCA.
Atlas V rocket consists of the AEHF 5 satellite launching from Cape Canaveral, Florida, as well as a flag in each corner representing the countries involved with AEHF: the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and the Netherlands. Additionally, there is one large star to represent each of the previously launched AEHF satellites, as well as AEHF 5. This morning's flight is dedicated in memory of Al Hageman and Jeffrey Chapman. Our colleague and friend Al Hageman started his aerospace career in 1983, where he established himself as an accomplished software engineer. He later found his passion in quality assurance, where he led the software quality organization. His work contributed to the success of numerous missions and development programs. Engineers and leaders alike found him to be an insightful and wonderful mentor. An enthusiastic volunteer with local STEM robotics programs, Al had a fervent passion for empowering early education opportunities within the aerospace community. Al leaves behind a loving family and will be missed across the aerospace community, where his legacy will live on. This morning's flight is also dedicated in memory of our colleague and friend, Jeff Chapman. Jeff, a logistics and warehouse specialist, worked at ULA's warehouse here at Cape Canaveral. Jeff was a knowledgeable and dedicated coworker with a sharp memory and an amazing sense of humor. He was always willing to go out of his way to help others while going above and beyond in his own responsibilities. Jeff was a caring individual dedicated to his career, family, and friends, and will be missed by many.
OSM, LC, no one.
OSM.
Place SRB ignition SNA switch in the enable position.
SRB ignition enable.
LOX 2, verify CISA purge flowing GN2 to the CISA.
Verified.
OSM, verify the FCO, RCO, and OSM hold fire switches are in the proceed position.
Ready to proceed.
And RLM, LC, no one. RLM. I'll keep step 140 open until the anomaly is resolved.
Roger.
We are going to extend the hold. There is an issue with the first stage that's being worked, and a new T0 will be announced when ready.
And for the team on net 1, this is LC. We're continuing to look at an anomaly. Team is off understanding that condition. We are extending the T-4 hold.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We are going to extend this hold for a little bit as we work an issue with the first stage, and we will have a new T0 for you when it's ready. As we remain in this hold, we are just taking another look at the weather. The probability of violating launch constraints is 10%. The ground winds are still 10 to 12 knots out of the west-southwest, and the temperature is 77 degrees Fahrenheit. So the weather is still within the launch commit criteria and looks favorable for our new T0. This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We're not hearing anything at the moment as the team is working the issue on the anomaly channel, but we are expecting to hear back from them soon as far as resolution and a new T0.
LC1, this is AC.
Go ahead, AC.
Ready to brief the RD-180 hydraulic issue.
Roger. LD Net 1?
LD.
MD Net 1.
MD.
Proceed, AC.
Okay, we had a new sequence of the pressure setting, and we had to develop a troubleshooting plan to recover from that. That troubleshooting plan was implemented and successfully corrected the situation. RLM saw the event was necessary, and we are recommending proceeding.
LC concurs. LD?
LD concurs.
MD?
MD concurs.
RLM, LC, Net 1?
This is RLM.
First step 140, can you verify red line monitor and event table are in the correct configuration for terminal count?
Verified.
All right, team, stand by. Our anomaly has been corrected. We'll be coordinating a new T0. All personnel stand by.
LC1, this is AC.
Go, AC.
New issue, sir. We have from EGSC a data patching problem. Need to take that to 6.
Roger. Please, community anomaly team, provide a recommendation.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. The issue with the first stage has been resolved. Another minor issue came up, a minor data issue, and the anomaly team has reconvened to work that. They're still working on a new T0 once that issue is resolved.
LC1, as I say, right out brief, the Data patching issue.
Roger. LD Net 1.
LD.
MD Net 1.
MD.
Proceed, AC.
Okay, this was traced to a inadvertent patching issue in the ASOC data station. That has now been corrected. We are ready to proceed.
LC concurs. LD.
LD concurs.
MD.
MD concurs.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. Sounds like the issue has been resolved. We have plenty of time remaining in our window this morning. We're just waiting for a new T0 now.
Roger. 10:13:000.
Good copy.
RC, please coordinate a new T0 of 10:13:000.
In work.
And ALC, please set up the clock for a new T0 of 10:13:000.
In work. LC.
Go.
Countdown clock has been set for new T0 of 10:13 Zulu.
Roger.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. As you've heard, the issue has been resolved, and we have coordinated a new T0 of 6:13 a.m. Eastern Time.
LC RC1.
Go, RC.
New T010:13:00. Approved by the range.
Roger. And with that, all steps are complete prior to status check. LC switch to the ready position. All personnel stand by for status check at L-7 minutes.
We remain in the planned built-in hold as we continue to prepare for liftoff. The hold was extended just a little bit to solve a couple of anomalies, but we have a new T0 of 6:13 a.m. Eastern Time. In a few moments, launch conductor Scott Barney will poll the launch team for the final go to pick up the countdown. 29 engineers and managers are polled for system status and readiness to proceed. This is the final status check before launch for all Atlas vehicle systems, ground systems, the spacecraft, and the U.S. Air Force Eastern Range. The vehicle system readiness poll includes electrical systems, hydraulics, pneumatics, propulsion systems, flight control, and propellants. Let's listen in as Scott Barney performs the final polling of the launch team.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. Atlas systems, propulsion.
Go.
Hydraulics.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
Water.
Go.
Centaur systems, propulsion.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
HASGAS.
Go.
Electrical systems, airborne.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Facility.
Go.
RFFTS.
Go.
Flight control.
Go.
GCQ.
Go.
Operations support.
Go.
COM.
Go.
Umbilicals.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
Redline monitor.
Go.
Quality.
Go.
Op safety manager.
Go.
Relay safety officer.
Go.
Vehicle system engineer.
Go.
Anomaly chief.
Go.
RC.
Clear to proceed.
Launch director.
Launch vehicle is ready to launch.
Mission director.
This is the mission director. You have permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count. ALC verified T0 is set for 1013 Zulu.
Verified.
Polling is complete and the launch team has given the go for launch. From T-minus 4 minutes until liftoff, you will be listening to launch conductor Scott Barney and his team performing the final steps in the countdown procedure. You will hear the team call out that Atlas LO2 topping has been secured, followed about a minute later by the call out for transferring the Atlas and Centaur stages from ground facility power to internal battery power. At T-minus 1 minute 55 seconds, the team will command the launch sequencer to start, followed shortly by securing the Centaur LH2 and LO2 topping activity. At T-minus 1 minute 40 seconds, the team will command the flight control system to launch enable and arm the flight termination system. In the final minute, the Atlas tanks will be verified at flight pressures, followed by verification of Centaur tank pressures. A final status check of Atlas, Centaur, and AEHF-5 readiness is conducted at T-minus 25 seconds. At T-minus 3 seconds, the RD-180 engine will roar to life. After liftoff, you'll hear the voice of Patrick Moore providing launch vehicle ascent data. This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We anticipate releasing the hold in just a few moments.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting. 3, 2, 1, mark. 3:55.
Ground pyros enabled.
The countdown clock has resumed and we are go for launch at 6:13 a.m. Eastern.
T-minus 3 minutes.
Securing LO2 topping.
Atlas tanks to flight pressure.
2 minutes, 50 seconds.
ATS internal.
One 59,
Vehicle internal.
155,
Launch sequencer start.
150,
Securing Centaur LH2.
Securing Centaur LO2.
140,
Launch enabled.
137,
AFTS armed.
T-minus 90 seconds. The launch vehicle, payload, ground systems, and eastern range are go for launch.
120,
OCU's armed.
Count started.
115,
Reduce ECS for launch.
Roger.
110,
Vent valves locked.
T-minus 1 minute.
Rock, report range status.
Range green.
T-minus 40 seconds.
Stable at step 3.
Twenty-eight seconds.
ECS reduced for launch.
Roger.
25,
Status check.
Go Atlas. Go Centaur.
Go AEH at 5.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition, and we have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket with AEHF-5 for the United States Air Force Space and Missile Systems Center.
Now 10 seconds in. Vehicle throttling down to 67% thrust. Engine response looks good. And PU system has gone to closed loop control as expected. System response looks good. 25 seconds in. RG-180 engine operating parameters look good. Now 35 seconds. Mach 1 Atlas V is now supersonic. Now 45 seconds in. RD-180 continuing to look good. Now passing through max Q. And engine throttling back up to 94% thrust. RD-180 engine operating parameters look good. Seeing good chamber pressure on all 5 SRBs. Good symmetric burn. Just passing 1 minute now into flight. RD-180 continuing to look good. Also seeing good chamber pressure across all 5 SRBs. Engine now throttling down to 75% thrust as expected. Engine response looks good. Standing by for SRB burnout shortly. And we're seeing burnout on all 5 SRBs. Engine back up to full thrust. Standing by for SRB jettison. And we have good indication of jettison of all 5 solid rocket boosters, 1 minute 50 seconds into flight. Vehicle's gone to closed loop guidance. Now passing 2 minutes into flight. Atlas V is now 38 miles in altitude, 48 miles downrange distance, traveling at 4,700 miles per hour. 2 minutes, 15 seconds into flight. RD-180 engine operating parameters continue to look good at full thrust. Vehicle body rates looking good. Just under 2 minutes now remaining in the boost phase of flight. Engine now throttling to maintain 2.5 G acceleration limit. Engine response and vehicle body rate response looks good. RCS pyro valve has been fired. Reaction control system is pressurizing to flight levels. Now coming up on 3 minutes into flight. RD-180 pump speeds and injector pressures continue to look good as it's maintaining that throttle limiting. 3 minutes, 10 seconds in. Vehicle body rates continue to look good. Standing by for payload fairing jettison. And we have good indication of payload fairing jettison. And CFLR jettison complete as well. Vehicle now throttling back up to 95% thrust. Engine response looks good. 3 minutes, 40 seconds in. And engine is now throttling to maintain 4.6 G acceleration limit. Engine response looks good. Now passing 4 minutes into flight, Centaur has begun the boost phase chill down sequence. RD-180 engine continues to look good as it maintains that 4.6 G throttle acceleration limit. 4 minutes, 15 seconds in, standing by for BECO shortly. And we have BECO booster engine cutoff standing by for stage set. And we have good indication of Atlas Centaur separation. We have pre-start on the RL-10, standing by for ignition. We have ignition and full thrust on the RL-10. Chamber pressure looks good, body rates look good. This first burn of today's mission will last approximately 7 minutes. Now at 5 minutes into flight, the Centaur is 110 miles in altitude, 500 miles downrange distance, traveling at 13,900 miles per hour. RL-10 chamber pressure continues to look good. Vehicle body rates also maintaining good values. 5 minutes, 20 seconds into flight.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T plus 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Patrick Moore just confirmed the successful completion of the early phase of today's flight, and all systems continue to operate nominally. The mission is currently in the first of 3 Centaur engine burns. Our next event, Centaur main engine cutoff, will occur in approximately 7 minutes. I'm joined now by Lieutenant Corey Williams of the U.S. Air Force's Space and Missile Systems Center. Lieutenant, thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here, Amanda.
So we've just seen a great liftoff of the 5th satellite in the AEHF constellation. What was it like to watch that liftoff?
It feels great. This launch was a major milestone for the Air Force and a big win for the United States and its international partners. So on behalf of SMC 2.0, I would like to thank our industry partners, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and United Launch Alliance.
Can you talk a little bit more about the international partners?
Certainly. So currently we have 3 international partners on our program: Canada, the Netherlands, and United Kingdom. And we are also in the process of negotiation with Australia's Department of Defense to bring them on as a 4th partner as well. So in line with guidance from our Secretary of Defense, the Air Force is actively pursuing partnerships with our allies around the world. This improves interoperability and makes us a more lethal combined fighting force.
Sounds like you guys have a lot of great plans for the future. So before liftoff, I touched a little bit on the capabilities of today's satellite. What is AEHF's mission?
So Once integrated, the satellite will join the AHF constellation with the primary mission to provide survivable, global, secure, protected, and anti-jam communications for high-priority military ground, sea, and air assets. Additionally, the AHF constellation also allows the President of the United States and combatant commanders to control their strategic and tactical forces through all phases of conflict, through all phases of war.
So what is the coverage of the constellation?
So the AHF 5 completes a full constellation of 5 interconnected satellites providing continuous worldwide 24-hour coverage between 65 degrees north and 65 degrees south latitude. Not to mention, the United States Air Force procured an additional satellite, AHF 6, which will be added to the constellation in the near future.
So there's another satellite on the way. When is that launch planned?
The projected launch for AHF 6 is March 2020, so not too long until we get to come back for yet an exciting lift.
Well, great. Can't wait for that. Now that we've seen the successful liftoff of the AEHF 5, how will that get integrated into the constellation?
So the satellite will initially be put into a geosynchronous test orbit in view of our CONUS-based ground assessment facilities to perform checkout, on-orbit tests, and antenna calibrations. Upon completion of these activities, it will then be turned over to operations.
So now that we've talked a little bit about the satellite and its capabilities, what is your role in all of this?
Sure. So I'm a program manager with just over 3 years of active duty service. I've worked on the AHF program for all of my career so far, and my current role in the program is I'm responsible for the production operations.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like cool work to do. Thank you so much for talking to us about AEHF. You must be really proud to be a part of all of this.
Absolutely. And the Air Force is proud to be part of this history and heritage thanks to the great work and partnership between the U.S. Air Force and its industry partners.
Well, thanks so much for talking to us. We'll now return to the flight as we approach main engine cutoff 1. Let's listen in.
Now passing 9 minutes, 30 seconds into flight. And about 2 minutes now remaining in the burn. Centaur systems continue to perform nominally throughout this burn, continuing to see good performance on the RL-10 main engine, as well as periodic thruster firings, and Centaur is maintaining very stable body rates. Now at 10 minutes, 30 seconds into flight, Centaur is 144 miles in altitude, 1,900 miles downrange distance, traveling at 16,780 miles per hour. Less than 1 minute now remaining in the burn. Centaur PU system has maintained a request for a LOX-rich burn throughout this first burn, not uncommon. Centaur RL-10 engine operating parameters continue to look good throughout this burn. Now 20 seconds remaining until MECO. And standing by for MECO shortly. And we have MECO. Body rates have damped out nice.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T+ 11 minutes, 49 seconds. Patrick Moore just confirmed the first Centaur main engine cutoff. Our next event, main engine burn 2, will occur in approximately 10 minutes.
Coming up yet. Now passing 12 minutes into flight.
ULA's next Atlas launch is the Orbital Flight Test. The emergency detection system is unique technology developed for the Atlas V Starliner and is designed to protect the crew and monitor the health of the rocket. Let's learn more.
We're sitting in the Systems Integration Lab at the Centennial Campus at United Launch Alliance. My name is Stefania Mooring. I am the Human Spaceflight Integration Lead.
And my name is Montez Niracic. I'm a Guidance, Navigation, and Control Engineer, and we're going to be talking about the emergency detection system today. So the Atlas V is a phenomenally reliable vehicle, and that's one of the reasons why Boeing chose the Atlas to launch their Starliner capsule and to launch astronauts to the space